The Statue of Freedom stands atop of the dome of the United States Capitol. The bronze statue, also known as the Lady of Freedom, stands 19.5 feet tall and weighs 19,000 pounds. She wears a helmet with a crest composed of an eagle's head and feathers. She holds a sheathed sword in her right hand and a laurel wreath and shield in her left. Originally named Freedom Triumphant in War and Peace, the Statue of Freedom represents the nation's aspiration for freedom, as her name suggests. She symbolizes the freedom from oppression of all kinds. However, she plays a much bigger role than a national symbol. According to Morrnah Simeona, the Lady of Freedom is the Unihipili of not only the United States, but also the cosmos. She is the Lady of the cosmos. The Unihipili is the subconscious or the memory bank of an entity, animate and inanimate. As the Unihipili of the United States and the cosmos, the Lady of Freedom was bombarded and burdened with all kinds of negative memories. Morrnah undertook a difficult and onerous mission to set her free. According to a telephone interview by her students, Roma and Gary Piton, in 1990, Morrnah recalled the beginning of the mission, going back in time at least 20 years from then.
I was sitting on the front lawn of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. I was looking up at the figure on the top of the dome. She looked down at me and said, "Do you know who I am?" And I said, "Oh, you're Pocahontas." She said, "No, I'm the Lady of Freedom." And she said, "From today on, your work will be setting me free." So that's why I'm in this work.
One key task of the mission was to bring the Lady of Freedom back to the public. As the bronze statue stands atop of the Capitol dome, she is out of reach by the people. The plaster model used to fabricate the bronze statue. The model had been segmented, moved, and stored numerous times. She was transferred to the Smithsonian for public display from 1900 to 1967. In the next 24 years, the plaster model was dismantled and stored away, awaiting a more permanent home. In 1992, the model finally returned to the Capitol and was displayed in the Russell Rotunda at the beginning of 1993. It was Morrnah who worked behind the model's return to the Capitol for public display. She partnered with the then Hawaiian Senator Daniel Akaki. Senator Akaki championed the legislation to authorize the architect of the Capitol to receive donations from the public for the restoration and relocation of the Lady of Freedom's original plaster model to the Capitol. Here's the late Senator Akaki's description of the initiative.
You've had a very special relationship to the Statue of Freedom that sits on top of our Capitol building. Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, I'm a member of the House. I learned that there was a Statue of Freedom that was in a warehouse, a plaster model. And at that time, what impressed me was that Statue of Freedom was important to our country, and it's located on top of the dome of our Capitol, and that it was erected in 1863, I'm sorry. But after that was done, the plastic statue was put away. Well, I wanted that statue out and discovered that it belonged to Smithsonian Institute, and there was a battle about who would have the jurisdiction over that. We were able to work it out so that it was transferred to the Capitol. Now, when that was done, I worked with a group of people from Hawaii who were interested in this. And if you look at the Russell Rotunda now, there is that plastic statue. And there's a sign there that tells people about the statue. And also on the last line, it has the name of the foundation that helped me do this. And they provided funds to bring it out and to restore it. So it was restored, and because there wasn't that kind of space around, except for that rotunda. We brought it in and erected it there. And at that time, there were lost fingers, there were lost stars, but all of that was put back. So the statue now is whole. And the idea here was we wanted freedom to come back to the United States. And this is one way of doing it on a level where people can look at it. And that was, on the floor and not necessarily on the dome. So as a result, this was erected, completed, and it's there.
The foundation he referred to in the video was the foundation of I, freedom of the cosmos. The foundation was set up by Morrnah in 1980. She raised $25,000 for donation to the project, approximately $65,000 in today's value. As Morrnah passed away in 1991, she did not live to see the completion of the project. But she was instrumental in the initiative to set the Lady of Freedom free. Dialing back to the legislative process, on April 11, 1989, Morrnah testified before the Hawaii House Committee.
What the Lady of Freedom represents today is the identity and rhythm of the United States. As each of us discovers our own unique identity, we will come to understand what the ancient Hawaiians knew, that life exists in all forms of creation, animate and inanimate. So it is with the Lady of Freedom. Why does she exist? She represents freedom for the United States of America and for the cosmos, not just for mankind, but for all of creation.
Apart from working on the legislative and financial sides of the project, Morrnah had been quietly performed spiritual cleansing of the Lady of Freedom for 8 years. In the interview with the Pitons, she says,
people need to realize that she is the one that frees people from want, from need, from employment, from whatever it is. We have to cleanse the things we have done in order to get what we have now or expect to have. The Lady of Freedom is under bondage. Until these memories and people are released, she'll remain there. For 8 years, I have stood without sleep to do the cleaning. I work 7 days a week. It's a hard time.
Published in the Self-Identity through Ho'oponopono Manual, the message from the Lady of Freedom, as channeled through Morrnah, makes it clear that every one of us has the responsibility of cleansing our own crud.
I, the Unihipili of the United States, feel free from the fetters and chains that have bound me like the thinker, bound by the unmerciful thoughts of man. Not animals, vegetables, or minerals, only man, for eons of time. How long does it truly take for the Lady of Freedom to be truly set free? The answer is in the hands of man. As man moves his own personal, individual crud, so will it be moved in all areas. Has not man left a scar, a crud in every part of the universe since he was ever placed on the planet? This is the cleansing that is so necessary. Man feels he is superior, so he cleanses thoughts, affirmations consciously without the totality of himself, yet he ignores the seed he had through eons of time sown, which manifests today in his life. Do not sweep them under the carpet and ignore them. No, because the swept under the carpet crud will show when the carpet is removed. Bless you and all who use the process daily as a refresher. As you inhale your breath, it cleanses your inner you, so you will sparkle like fine crystal. Go and be at peace for the buffalo on the prairie, the tumbleweed, the cactus in all mountains, valleys, and streams echo their gratitude to the world. The desert no longer will be barren, for in time, life will exist where barrenness existed. Water will be abundant where there was a void, and the songs of birds. trees and mountains will echo with those minerals and rocks. We're set free, and it is done.
When the U.S. Capitol Visitor Center opened on December 2, 2008, the plaster model of the Lady of Freedom was moved there from the Russell Rotunda. Today, she is the centerpiece of Emancipation Hall, meeting millions of visitors every year. Thank you, Morrnah, for your selfless contribution to setting the Lady of Freedom and the man free.